Hello, hello, everyone. Jeffrey, Annie, Jamie, Janet, Bill Woods. I think I said Jeffrey already. Yeah, Jeffrey was the first one on tonight. Cindy's here. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming on the show tonight. A night that I thought was going to be full of celebration, happiness, and joy. And it still may be, but it's not yet. We're going to get into the show by playing the music and doing the Pledge of Allegiance. Then we're going to talk to the kids for a few minutes. And then with the help of a lot of you people, a lot of my fellow followers with me and Ron, you guys have put together a lot of information for me. And I have some other things I want to talk about. One of the things was I had a very, very, very good talk today with God, and as I'm talking, I said, "Wow, I think you just put my show together for me tonight." So with that being said, we're going to get this ball rolling. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Bear with me, guys. As I told you, I'm having trouble with my phone. And as soon as I started to click on the music, it decided that it had to hit me with a spam thing and shut it off. So it's restarting. It'll take about a minute to restart, and then I'll get this music right on. Just bear with me. Chat, have fun. Never seems to take that long to turn back on unless you're in a hurry, right?
Yeah. Well, Jeffrey. Congratulations. Well, Jeffrey.
Building a new life takes determination, but it's worth it for family. Send money overseas quickly.
If tomorrow. Period. Congratulations. If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I think my... Hello, Janet. I hope you had a good day.
Well, guys, we're not going to get the music tonight. For some reason, my phone is just acting up 100% totally. I have no clue what's going on. Let's see. I don't know.
Living here today, where the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still.
I understand that, Myrna. My phone is acting up too. Good evening, Myrna. Hi, Robin. Bill, did I say hi to you? If not, hi.
From the lakes of Minnesota
To the hills of Tennessee.
across the plains of Texas, oh, from sea to shining sea. From Detroit down to Houston, New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say,
Hey, Maria.
proud to be an
Hey, Ron's here.
I don't know how long.
He don't know how long he'll be awake here, but he's here right now. He didn't get a nap this afternoon, guys. Yes, God bless USA. You know, of all the versions of that song that's out, that's my favorite. That's why I play it 3 nights a week when we have shows. But that one there is one with Lee Greenwood, which, you know, he wrote the song. It's his song. But when he sings it with this group of people and the background, for those of you who haven't went to YouTube and actually watched the video and listened to it in person, he's singing with United States military men and women. And they just do such an, I mean, just an amazing job. And I tell you, I get emotional every time I hear that song sung that way. I mean, I've heard it sung other ways. I've heard him sing it at ballparks and by himself, and he's good. The man is amazing, but he's not as good as he is right there. So I hope everyone's had a great day. And for the kids, I hope everything is going good. I'm going to get into the kids in a moment, but I have a special announcement to make. No, we didn't get the numbers. No, we didn't get that. But the special number to me is dear to my heart because one of our followers, one of our Patriots, Abby, I believe her last name is Normal, right, Ron?
Yeah.
Abby Normal has been going through some very, very bad times. And if you know Abby, she is a woman of zest. She loves concerts. You know, when Patriot Diane with two N's used to be on, and I used to talk to her a lot. Me and her, we talked a lot about music. But Abby, she was constant. I mean, she'd go to sometimes 2 and 3 concerts a week. She just loved it. But then she was diagnosed and she was, let's put it this way, for a while it was very, very scary. And as a matter of fact, they scheduled certain things for coming up very soon. But today I got a message from Abby, and she said that when they ran the test on her heart, there is no blockage. There is no 2 or 3 other things. There is nothing that she has. Now all they have to do is a stint or so. And she says once they get the stint, man, she's ready to rock and roll again. She'll be at concerts and she'll be going. And you know, guys, I know I've asked you on several occasions to pray. And I know every night I've asked you to pray, that you guys in the side of here have prayed for her. And I hope you continue to pray for her as we go, because the way Ron is telling me, her stint procedure will be on the 2nd, somewhere in there. I'll find out more and I'll pass it on. But you know, stints is just a ordinary thing. Or will she have that surgery? Will she? Because you know, there's something could happen by then, because I'm pretty sure she's got currency and might even have some other. But
she wanted to work with us.
Even, yeah, she wants to work with us, Ron's saying. So with that being the case, maybe she'll go to a redemption center and she'll be able to go boom, just like that. And she'll never have to go through any of this. Guys, our lives are about to change. And I know I say this on every show, but I'm going to give you some examples tonight. So for the kids, Super Jimmy, I've had some really good talks with your daddy. I think he made the right decision. We're not going to go into the decisions. When your daddy decides he wants people to know on the outside, all I'll let you know, Jimmy, is we're all praying for you and your family. We all miss your mommy, though, just not as much as you because she went so much to you. But if you ever talked, and I did, I got the chance probably on 10 occasions to chat with Renee, your mommy. And she was an amazing woman. And what happened to her was totally wrong. But I'm going to tell you right now, you asked the question to John the other day. Do you think my mommy, even though she's in heaven, still loves me? I'm going to tell you right now, little man, she loves you more now than she did. She's with you every second of the day. When you're dreaming, she's sitting on your pillow. She's with you. And I'm a believer in this, see, because I was 48 years old when my mom left, and I still miss her. You can't get the heartaches to go away, but they get easier because if you just believe that everything you do, she's going to see everything you do. She's going to see you get on that special bed. She's going to see you start running and playing and having fun instead of being on the computers at 4:30 in the morning. And he hasn't been, Jim, in case you're watching, buddy, he hasn't been here lately. I haven't seen him on it any earlier than like 7. But anyway, hang in there, my friend, and everything is going to get better. And then we have Patriot 11, who's just totally disappeared. Patriot Wyatt Earp, Patriots Karate Kid, 2 amazing kids. And the last time I really associated with their mom, Michelle, she had them call me. And we had a tremendous talk. These 2 kids were so excited. It reminded me talking to them about back in the day when we had some other people following us. And it was an amazing little boy that I just loved with all my heart. And he's no longer following us, but I'm sure he's still smiling. And we give him the nickname Patriot Smiley. And I think about him a lot. He was an amazing young little boy. And I just hope that he's smiling. He took after me, and he would always try to make 10 people smile every day. And then we have Patriot Princess, our queen, and Patriot Hunter, who I explained to everybody on Monday night. Janet took pictures with them too the other day. And you want to talk about a handsome and really cute, beautiful young girl and a handsome young boy. I'm telling you, Hunter, man, you are going to have girls after you like you wouldn't believe. And you might not want to hear that, Grandma, but I'm just preparing you because that is one good-looking young boy. And, with you as his grandma, I know he's spoiled. I know that he is a good kid. And we really appreciate everything you do for your grandkids, the same way as Boogs, Boogaloo, Boogaroo, and Boogie. And the oldest one, John, I was looking at the picture the other night. Does she have something stuck in her nose? She didn't get one of those rings in her nose, did she? I mean, if she did, it's up to her. It's her body, her choice. But boy, my personal opinion, I don't see why any woman. You want to get an earring, put them on your lips, put them in your nose. No, I that's me. But teenagers will be teenagers. And I've got a granddaughter that I'll talk about in a little bit that she's 11 going on 17 or 18. And you guys all know her. She's a moderator on here, but she's been so busy. I tell you, this kid, I'll get to her in a few minutes, but John, your grandkids, I love receiving the pictures, and they're always smiling and they're growing. Oh my goodness, they're growing so fast. Little Leona, I'm always talking to Grandpa Mike about her, and I mean, talk about a great grandpa that is just unbelievable proud of someone. And I go over and like tomorrow, I got to go into town and do a few errands. And when I do, when I come back from town, I usually stop by the cemetery and I talk to my mom. And I don't think I ever stop there and talk to her that I don't talk about little Leona. And then I was able to receive a picture on Facebook the other day. It wasn't for me; it was for the whole group, of family, friends, and loved ones for little Leilan. And them two little girls have such a place in my heart because they might have been named after my two favorite women in the world, which would have been my mom and my Aunt Lonnie. Her name was Leilan. And, for these little girls to carry that name on, and Leona especially being born on March 1st, the same day as my mom. And, I was thinking the other day, and I'm pretty sure that Leilan was born on April 2nd. And if she was, that means she was born on my Aunt Lonnie's birthday. And what a tribute to two women that they dedicated their lives to kids. My mom was a little different for kids than my Aunt Lonnie, because my Aunt Lonnie was a single mom who raised like 7 kids. And did they get in trouble? Oh, their last name was Page, and when you went to Kankakee County, if you knew the Pages, you was okay. If you didn't, I remember when I was a young pup at 19 years old, I was able to start drinking because back when I was a young pup at 19, we could drink. And I went into this bar one day, and these people in there, they didn't like me for some reason. I was young looking. They didn't think I deserved to drink beer. And I said, well, I drink beer with my cousins all the time. Well, who's your cousin? And I said, Stanley and Howard Page. They said, bring this man a beer. Bring this man a beer. I mean, you didn't mess with the Pages, but Aunt Lonnie, she was special. She knew how to handle her family, and she took great care. Her kids were her life, but she worked for 35 years for the state of Illinois, where my mom, she was a housewife, the greatest housewife ever. But then, we have other kids, Super Gymnast, who I was telling you, is 11 going on 15 or 16. And I got to talk to her last night, in a little brief video chat. I'll go into the video chat in a minute, but the little monkey really needed to talk to her grandpa. So I asked Amber when I was on the video chat with the little monkey, I said, what's Ella doing? And she says, she's sitting over here. I said, well, bring her to the video chat. I need to talk to her for a minute. She come over, and I said, you broke my heart, Halloween. And she said, why? I said, you went out trick-or-treating with the grown-ups. And she said, well, no, just my best friend. I just didn't stay with my brother and sister and mom and dad. And I said, but you're growing up too fast. And she says, I'll never grow up too fast for you, Papa. And I said, but see, I'm standing here looking at my calendar that I get every year. Ella, I get this calendar every year, and your pictures are on it all the time. And in Halloween month, there's always a picture of you in your Halloween costume the year before. And I said, but we're not going to have that picture this year. And that's going to be the first time in 11 years. And she said, oh no, I made sure mom and dad took a picture of me in my costume. So that made me feel better. So she's a good kid. She's a straight A student. And she loves gymnastics. And as I was talking to Amber the other day, and I said, Amber, the sky's the limit for her. Now she's going to go out for cheerleading next year, which will help because of her gymnastics. And she's going to go out for cheerleading, which is something I never thought she would get into, because cheerleaders are girly girls. She's just her. She has her own, but she decided she wants to cheerlead. And I was telling Amber, I says, she'll be great at it. And she said, well, you're just saying that because she's your granddaughter. I said, Amber, when she took up gymnastics, what did I say to you? And she said, you looked at me and said, why? She was not a lot of coordination, but I'm telling you, she sticks with it and she practices. And I mean, it's nothing to be over at their house. And all of a sudden she just starts standing on her hands, or she'll do flips, or she'll do splits. Or, I mean, she just always working at it the same way in her schoolwork. You don't become a straight A student by not studying. Patriot 7, as I've told you several times, he's a Super Bowl champ. He has a very nice ring. I can't really tell you a lot about it. Me and him haven't talked much recently. He's a 10-year-old with a girlfriend. You know, Bill Woods, Jeffrey, Tony, Janet. You remember your first boyfriend or girlfriend? Well, he's got his, and boy, I tell you, as soon as he won that Super Bowl, she wasn't at the game. He got their house cell phone that Patriot super gymnast had, and man, he's right on the phone calling her and telling her everything that happened. We're trying to talk to him. No, he wanted to be with his little girlfriend, and they're a cute couple. She's a tremendous kid. Her parents are just amazing. And I tease Ella, Patriot super gymnast, a lot about she's got a brother that's the same age as Ella. But I mean, Ella's like this much taller than him. But I tease them that they're going to end up together too. But then, we have Patriot Small Hank, that he was homesick today with a bad cough. And I mean, he had a bad cough, but we've had him on the nebulizer a couple of times and the breathing treatments, and he's stayed in the house, stayed on the couch, watching TV all day. But, he's been a good kid. His dad was upstairs working and I was in the house. So, I mean, he's been a good kid. And we're hoping he gets to go back to school tomorrow, because if he doesn't, then he has to go to the doctor Friday morning or tomorrow afternoon to go back, because if you miss 2 days, you have to have a doctor's slip to come back on the third one. And I know he's going to want to go back on Friday, because otherwise he can't do nothing on the weekend. The little the little monkey, she's just in a world of her own. And to say I miss babysitting her being in kindergarten, yeah, but she's in kindergarten now, not being in preschool. I miss her, and she tells her mom, she says, sometimes we just got to do something where I can spend some time with my grandpa. And I mean, she's missed 2 days of school, and the first one she was pretty sick, so we couldn't do anything. The second one, we was able to go out and get lunch, and all she wanted was a can of them weenies. This little kid loves these weenies, but the thing she does, and she was doing homework last night when we was on that call, and I said, your teacher gives you homework. Now you got to remember, her mom is her teacher, and her mom says, I didn't give her no homework. She decided she wanted to have homework, and she's doing this. And I said, for extra credit? She said, yeah, that's what we're telling her. And then Patriot little Kira, she's turning into quite the little kid. She was down here at Ron's here a while back, and I'm telling you, she don't see Uncle Ron much because they're always on the go. But she was down here, and man, I'm telling you, her and Ron was talking. I mean, just like two little monkeys. They never shut up. I'm looking at the look on Ron's face, like, what is going? Because she just, go give Uncle Ron a hug. She'd go give him 2 hugs. And it was just amazing. And I was watching a TV show the other day, and I actually heard someone say something about a baby. Actually it was about these 2 paramedics that when they showed up at the house, they couldn't save the mom, and they didn't know the mom was 8 months pregnant. And when the other lady comes in, she said, what about the baby? You couldn't save her. What baby? So these paramedics, even though they shouldn't have, they performed a cesarean section, and they saved it, the baby. And they even saved it from getting this, I don't know, prenatal drip or whatever it is that babies can get. And see, that's what Kira got when she was rushed to the hospital in Chicago. It's the first time I'd ever heard it. And but as soon as I heard it, I looked at Ron. I said, that's why Kira had to go to the hospital for 6 weeks. But I'm telling you, so they had a Ronald McDonald thing because her mom and her mother, her grandmother, and others, they collect the tops of beer cans and pop cans and they turn them back in, and Ronald McDonald gets money for that, and they get a lot of money from these vendors for that. And they had a big event, and she was honored with a plaque and a trophy. So that concludes tonight's version of the kids. Uh, Kids, we love you, and we're the only show I think that's ever had a version where we talk to the kids and we make them a big part of the show. But you have to remember, this show is not meant for children, but you can watch it under the permission of your parents, grandparents, or legal guardians. And that being said, also the music we played tonight, we have no legal rights to. As I've said earlier, we adopted it as our theme song, especially that version. And we have no legal rights. We just play it for entertainment purposes only. Okay, moving on. I have several things to talk about, but I mentioned earlier that I wanted to talk a little bit about my talk today. And all day long, I have been watching and watching and watching, waiting for, as the song said, this magic moment. And it didn't come. And not long ago, I read something from Wolverine. And in it, Wolverine states, I've been talking to a lot of wells, a lot of well-to-do people. And they're saying we're in the final hour, that we was expecting to get what we've been wanting within the hour. I happened to look at my watch and I said, dang, that was 45 minutes ago. So I patiently watched and watched and watched. Anticipation, just like the commercial we used to have with Heinz ketchup. Anticipation to get that one drop of Heinz ketchup out of that bottle. Remember them commercials, everyone? And the anticipation built and built and built, and the hour came and the hour left. And now since then, it's been 2.5 hours. But when I was talking to God, I said to him, why? Why do we have to put up with this? Maybe people like Wolverine and all these people that's got all these people that they know, instead of talking to wells, they should talk to people. Because how do you really talk to a well? And I was joking, the same as I am now, but I'm not laughing. But as I'm talking, I said, why can't we do this? Why can't the hat either come out himself? Why can't he come out himself, or have someone assigned like Elon Musk? Why can't they come out and tell people exactly what is going on? And I'm not saying when they're going to make this move and when they're going to make this move, but come out. And even if he thinks it's going to be before, why can't they come out and say, listen, guys, I've told you the special beds will be released January 1, 2026. Why can't he come out and give us the hope that the revaluation, that the Doge money, that all of this will happen on or before January 1, 2026? If the enemy has almost disappeared, and yesterday, talking about the enemy yesterday, we all heard what happened in the elections. And I was on Bruce in a small call, or Bruce in a big call, or whatever, any call you want to call it. Last night it was actually Bruce and the enjoyable call, because one of the Three Stooges was not on, and they did not last for 2 hours talking about selling products or programs. And it was enjoyable. But I'm talking to Marianne, and Marianne's telling us, did you hear that the Democratic Party won most everything? And I said, no. And I can remember when she said that, and I answered her. I got this sick feeling in my stomach. And then last night, I'm laying in bed. And this is just my theory. This is my theory. But I'm laying in bed and I get thinking, oh, they just put the final nail in the coffin. They just put the hammer down. Because you know what we're going to hear today? And we did. We're going to hear that it was that word that starts with an R. It's kind of like when you have an oil field and you have all these rigs out there. You see what I mean? And they have video proof. So if they have the video proof of that, and they also have the video proof of 2020, do you think the doors are going to start crumbling down? Crumbling down? I seen one of the guys that we know, they say he's passed away, but I really believe he didn't pass away. I really believe he was dealt in a place, a little mo with a little giddy up in it. And now I'm hearing all of that stuff is not taking place in there. That's a lot of it is taking place in the places where these people did underground to these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful children. But just imagine, I see a picture of this one guy who's left us. And in the picture, he says, hey guys, I made a mistake because it really is super hot down here. And I believe, folks, I believe with all my heart that so many more of these are going to go. HRC, I believe BC, I believe Big Mike and his husband. I believe all of these people will end up in that hot place very, very soon. But I believe somehow the hat is going to build walls that cannot be escaped in that hot place. He's going to do that to make sure that they never, ever can come back to this earth again and do any harm to any one of us or any children again. What they did to humanity totally sucks. And excuse me for saying that, but remember, I said I might on occasions say something like that, and that's the word I had to use. I could have said bites, but it's the same thing. Right, Beth Shaw? Good to see you. Who else we got? Gary's here. Tony's here. I keep wanting to say Bill Woods. One voice is here. Glad to see everyone here. Glad to have everyone. And I hope everyone's had a good day. So in my talk, I just said, why can't we do it this way? Why can't you let us know it will happen by this? I am so tired of someone telling me, I know this. I know the rates on this. I've heard now on that place where we lost many, many kids in that country, that their currency, that is a very funny name currency, is over $10. And that's for everyone. I've heard that they won't even tell you the rate on the one in Iraq because it's sky high. Because, see, people are tired of waiting. And now one of the main leaders from that country just met with a hat. And from my understanding, they've got everything. Guys, I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm going to read a lot of other stuff because I have a lot of reading to do tonight. So I'm going to move on. But in my personal opinion, when I said that Wolverine said 1 hour, I believe it. I believe it, but I want to talk a little bit about the bets because, guys, there's things going on out there. If you get something from Carrie Ann or Sky, whichever name she's going by, make sure it's her because there's people out there imitating her. So I'm trying to protect her, but they're imitating her and they're telling all about the bets. and we can get you an appointment. You just have to fill out this form. And then when you fill out the form, then there's a little charge. Well, we all know that the beds are run by the military and there is no charge. And I'm telling you, when these people posted this on this fake site, which I didn't know was fake when I joined it, I thought it was actually hers. And then when I seen that, man, all of a sudden I see about 25 people selling. Don't say anything. Don't fill this form out. Don't give them any money. They're just trying to take your money and run. You do not have to pay anything for these. Now, there are beds out there that are imitation beds like this, that they work, maybe not to the extent of what we're going to be getting on for free, but there's in-home ones that you can get that if you really need something bad, if you're willing to pay the money, feel free to do so. Them are real, but they are upfront and they tell you. They don't call them what we're calling them. And I don't mean magic beds, you know the real name. They call them what they are. They have a different name. And I've even heard Jared Rand, who probably has more knowledge on these beds than anybody in the world. I've heard him actually back these things. Myself, yes, could I use it? I am sick and tired of getting up in the morning and my legs hurting, my back hurting, my neck hurting because I slept wrong. I got a bad cough. I've got phlegm. I'm hawking up like crazy. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired and not feeling well. I want to experience getting in that bed, and getting in that bed. And then when they asked how many beds are there on this site, they said, it doesn't matter how many there are. You'll get the use of whatever you need. No, there's 3. And me and a bunch of other people, I mean, we ripped this. I don't see that site staying on much longer because, I mean, there's at least 50 people that was ripping them like crazy and telling people, don't fall for this. And then we would put links up, a link that I'm going to use here in just a little bit and read some stuff. Since I'm on the bed, I'll see if I can find that. This is a military report just in from Sky Prince on the special beds. President the Hat signs Quantum Restorative Health System, QRHS, executive order. The age of miraculous healing has officially begun. Breaking the special beds are now flooding America under military protection as part of the newly activated, all in capital letters, NECES program, which stands for National Emergency Cellular Enhancement System. Quantum healing technology, once classified, is now being deployed to designated military protected healing centers across the nation. And yes, that includes access to civilian patients under secure screening. These are not sci-fi beds. They are real. They are here. Used for years in secret programs, now available to the public under strict application protocols. Special beds are reversing organ damage, PTSD and trauma, degenerative diseases, aging and generic damage, post-COVID complications, emotional and spiritual blockages. They are also healing and curing cancer, diabetes, and pretty much anything else. QRHS now makes it mandatory to complete the NECES registration process for lawful access to the special bed healing. Now, I don't believe that. And I'm going to tell you this because when we go to the redemption centers, if you have Zim They're going to explain everything to you. They're going to get you signed up. From what I understand, you're going to be able to give a list from anywhere from 5 people to 25 people that you want on them as soon as possible. The reason is, and I'm going to say right here with Bill Woods and Myrna, Janet and Gary, Tony, Ron, myself, if we're all going to be working projects together, and we're going to be helping rebuild America, the world, and everything, that's going to be something special. But that being special, they don't want me, if I'm in charge of a couple of projects, because everybody here, if you decide to work with Patriot 5, Patriot 6, and family on the projects, you're not going to be doing work. When I say work, it's going to be, Gary, we're going to assign you to look over some people that will be doing the actual work. Like in me, rebuilding my town. Well, we're going to have contractors. Many of them for houses, for roads, for our sportsman's club, for camping, houses to do the, I mean, contractors to do the things. I mean, we're looking at many businesses. But do I want to be in charge of my town and be in charge of talking to these contractors every day, making sure they're doing what they're supposed to do, making sure that they're going to meet their deadline? Or do I want to look at someone like my son who lives in the same town and say, hey, I'm putting you in charge of this. I'm going to pay you this. It's creating a job. I look at my son-in-law and say, hey, I want to put you in charge of this, because see, all the contractors, we're creating jobs for all of these. And that's one of the things they're talking about at the redemption centers. A project that can create jobs is priceless. Now some of my other projects, working with the kids, it's still going to be a lot, because see, I want to do away with these homes for kids. I want to especially do away with no kids having to go to somebody's house because the government wants to pay them, and then they don't take care of them, they don't get treated right, and they're just using them for money or doing bad things to them with other people. I want every kid, and I've told you this how many times, to have a mom and a dad, a mom and a mom, a dad and a dad, a mom or a dad. I don't care. I just want them, when they wake up on their birthday, they're loved. When they wake up in the morning and get ready to go to school, maybe the mom will say, or the dad will say, hey, you want to go to school today on the bus with your friends, or you want me to take you? I want them to wake up on Christmas and have a Christmas tree there that's got presents for them. I want them to be loved and treated the way a child should be. And this is going to create. But until we can get all of these kids homes like this. And when it comes to adoption, there's so many people out there that want to adopt children. And you think about it, the people who want to adopt children. I have 2 nieces. Their husbands both have great jobs. Both nieces work. They make good money, but they still can't afford to adopt a kid because they want such an ungodly rate to do it. No, if we have a qualified couple that wants a kid and they want 3, they're theirs. And I'm telling you, my 2 nieces would be the greatest mothers in the world. And there's so many moms, there's so many dads out there that doesn't have kids that we can say this to, that they would be the greatest parents in the world, but they can't afford it. That's going to go away. But if they're in orphanages, I want to rebuild orphanages, which is going to create jobs. I want every kid to have either his own bedroom or share it just with one friend. I want there to be TVs and computers and laptops in there for these kids so they can realize. I want them to be a playground out in the side where they can go and play on the swings, on the monkey bars, on slides, or there's a ball field where they can play baseball. a basketball court where they can shoot hoops. That's what I want. But see, I don't want just workers, the workers that are there now that do it because they get a cha-ching paycheck. Because the people who be there, they'll get their cha-ching paycheck and it'll be more than they're going to get if they was working there now. But I want them to be workers that they say, oh, well, we're kind of alone. We'd love to work with children. And they're willing to live there in a beautiful place where they have their own quarters, where they can have their time to themselves, but also be there. And I don't just want one or two men and women. I want 5 or 6, 7 or 8. So all kids can know that they're loved while they're there too. When holidays come, when birthdays come, they get their presents, they get their parties. That's what I want. And that's what we can all accomplish if we work together. Do you agree with that, Beth Shaw? How about you, Tony? One voice? I know Janet will agree with me. And guys, you can see when I get talking on a subject like this, I get very emotional because kids mean so much to me. Another project that I want to work is with animals. I'm sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of watching people have a little kitty, a little kitten. They're so cute. They're so fluffy. They're so funny. And then all of a sudden, they're a year old and they're a little bigger. And then maybe they're 2 years old and they're outside because they don't want to deal with them. Or a little puppy that they just take and throw alongside the road. I was watching some videos on this channel, YouTube. And I seen this video where this car pulls up, pouring down rain. 3 little baby puppies and the mom. And they just set them out in a box along a highway. People like that need to go to prison. Or you know what they could even do better? Instead of putting them in prison, tying them, maybe doing something to them outside where they can't move and they have to stand out in that rain right along that highway too. And then all of a sudden, this semi-truck driver pulls up. He comes across 3 lanes when he sees these puppies. He picks them up. He puts them in the cab of his truck. He turns the heat on to warm them up. He takes them home. And the next thing you see is this mama puppy and these 3 little puppies playing with this man on the floor. That's the kind of people I want to be involved with. That's the kind of things I want to do. And we're so close. We're so very close. So now what else do we have? Good morning, Trine Patriots. So let's clarify a few things after yesterday's events. It's clearly fraudulent elections. If you had any different expectations, we haven't been paying attention. We showed the NY ballots yesterday here. What did you think was going to happen? Heck, I told you what would happen. Too obvious as the post of a few posts, too obvious as the post, a few posts up says the DNC and GOP are gonna DNC and GOP until the hammer is dropped on their heads. And that is coming. Remember my timeline. Remember election day +1 from Q drops. And as the hat stated, now it begins a warning of I have no idea what the word is, METAPHORICALLY. And so it begins. How do you start a war? VLAD was talking at Poseidon on 11.4, showed you launch a hyper ballistic nuke capable missile capable of creating. I'm not going to read this, guys. I don't want to get in trouble. So I agree. As I said, as I was talking about listening to Bruce last night with Marianne, and we were discussing the winners And then it hit me last night. This was just a setup. This was probably the final for these people to hang themselves. And boy, they jumped in hook, line, and sinker. So, oh, I just read that from Linda. I forgot I had actually brought that over. This is from Patriot Princess. 11.2, green light, confirmed BBS power online. The signal is live. The grid is active. Power has been restored to the military network and the final phase network and is underway. Patriot comeback in motion. Stay vigilant. Prepare for global silence in the coming hours. Everything will shift. Power will disappear. Signals will fade. The world will freeze for a moment that changes. Freeze for a moment that changes everything. This is not chaos. It is calibration. The silence is the signal. As the blackout begins, encrypted transmissions will move through the last secure frequency. You will recognize it when you hear it, but do not fear it. What you call darkness is the evil being lifted. Multiple high value individuals have been detained. Military tribunals have been active underground for months. Confessions recorded, documents archived, every name, every life, every crime. Nothing escapes the grid. This is not a drill. This is the reset, the shift back to the truth. Everything fake is collapsing. Everything real is returning. Trust the plan. Trust the stillness. Trust what emerges after the darkness. The world you knew was never real. What comes next is October is on October 22nd, 2025, we entered the broadcast. The silence isn't empty, it's full of revelation. Another one was Happy Quantum Computer Day. Know that the world has switched to a new system. Greeting to all my PI network family for their support for the QFS system for the past 6 happy years. Remember the 5th of November. I didn't think many of you were ready for this I didn't think many of you were ready for this great upcoming event. Are you ready? Yes or no? Well, I answered yes. From what I'm understanding, the new currency is in all the banks. This is kind of from Bruce last night. I was looking for that right now, but let me see. Carpathia, give a rundown on Bruce's show last night. It's very long. I'm not going to go through it all. I'm going to hit some key points. Bob wasn't on last night, so Bruce kind of took over and talked about a lot of things. Bruce heard from a high individual, bond paymasters with Wells Fargo, said we will be notified and get email notifications tomorrow, Wednesday, 5th of November. The information came and another info backed it up. It didn't happen, but November 5th is not over yet. Guys, when they keep saying a date and we keep missing it, one of these days it's going to happen. Bruce believes this and other faith that is going to occur as we have been informed for tomorrow. Things leading to the Vietnam was ready last week to revalue the dong, but something happening in Iraq with Iranian people doing some things that is straightened out now. And Iraq is ready to go with very high rates. People who want to delay this are now being summoned and possibly will be taken care of. When the emails to the 800 numbers, we will call a center. There's going to be 4 to 6 centers. And what Bruce is saying, we will get an 800 number to call. And Sandra, Bill, myself, when we call this 800 number, they're going to want to ask you what your zip code is. So they can get you to the best redemption center or tier 1 bank in your area. For myself personally, I don't care if I got to travel 2 hours. If I have to travel 2 hours down south or up towards Chicago, I'll gladly do it. I would rather do that than stay within a half an hour of my home where people may know me. And you know, I believe we will get Doge money because I believe they want Doge money in our hands so everybody has money so we can slip right through this. But when you call this center, they're going to ask you your name. They're going to ask you your zip code so they can match you. But then they're going to ask you questions such as, what is your currency you have? So before you call the 800 number, have your currency there. Have it written down. And I'm just going to give an example, and I don't know what anybody has, and I'm not telling you this is what I have because it's not. But say you have 1 million of the dong. You just tell them, I have 1 million dong. I have 3.5 million dinar. I have 3 100 trillion Zim bonds. I have $201 million Bolivar notes. And then you just tell everyone you have. But when you go in, when they match you to the redemption center that you're going to go to, when they do that, when you go in there, you make sure you take, if you have a program to work. I mean, if you have a project and they ask you, what is your project? You tell them I have it, and you tell them what it is. And then just give them a 3 to 5. Some of you may have projects, some of you may not. You don't have to work a project. You won't get as much money from the Zim, but you can pick a project. They have them there. But if you decide you want to work with Patriot 5, Patriot 6, and family, you just tell them that and then give them my contact information. And they can contact me to verify it. I say, yes, we're going to be working together. They're going to be a leader for me and wherever you're at. And we're going to work this together. So that's one of the things you need to know. You know, have your amount ready. Now, me, I got to go sit down tonight or tomorrow, and I got to go through things because, you know, I have went through. Bruce actually last night talked about the Yellow Dragon bonds. And he was talking about, because this really interested Wolverine, because Wolverine, that's, I think, from what I'm understanding from Carpathia and himself, Wolverine used to promote the Yellow Dragon bonds. I always wanted to get some. I never did. Because whenever I would try to contract Wolverine, you know, there's some people that do this like I do, that they're just untouchable. They think that they're, and I'm going to say it in a best way you'll understand it. They think their crap don't stink. They want to be there for the people only so they can get the glory that they have the most followers. I'd rather work with a small group and be here for each and every one of you. So according to Carpathia, the reason Wolverine was selling these because I guess he bought it by a big box full. Well, Wolverine is always talking about he's not wealthy. He don't have a lot of money. So if he bought them by the box full, I mean, that would cost a lot of money unless he was getting deals like we get. So when I was trying to find him, I think he was buying them by the box full and then sell them individually, because Wolverine has come out and said, now, I don't know if that's what we're getting, but if you have one of these yellow dragon bonds from China, if you have one, Wolverine has come out and said he's heard that they could go for as much as $1 to $2 billion. Well, when I heard him say that, I said, well, I got to find some of these. And I did. And I've got them. So I will be telling them how many yellow dragon bonds. Guys, I've got bonds. I don't even know what they are. I can't read the writing on them, because when I bought these yellow dragon bonds, they would send me other stuff as a gift. But I mean, some of these is like septillions. Some of them, these are trillions of dollars in bonds that I'm just going to say, I've got other things I'm going to bring. I'm going to show to you. I will have pictures of them. So if they try to take them, I have proof I had them. But, you know, the banks are going to want to work with you. Now, one thing that has come up, and I know this is starting to run a little long and I'm about ready to finish it up, but one thing has come up is the people getting their trust fund set up. Bruce was saying last night, after you go to the Redemption Center, you got 29 days to get a trust. I don't even know what a trust fund is, guys. Maybe I should learn it, but I have an attorney that lives a half a mile out Ron's front door. And I know all I got to do is get in my car, go and look at her and say, hey, help me set this trust fund up. I'll make it worth your while. And she'll do it. I'm not worried about it. And I don't want anybody to worry about it, because, see, all of the indications I'm getting is when you go to the Redemption Center and they need this trust fund set up, remember, you're going to have your quantum account. Whether you got currency or not, you're going to become a millionaire. But if you have all of these like Yellow Dragon bonds, Zim bonds, and you're going to have so much in this trust fund, Bruce is saying you got 29 days to get it set up. I don't think that's true, but there's no reason anybody can't get it. Now, I'm hearing reports that we're only going to get enough money when we go to last us 90 days, because they're going to be watching us. They're going to be watching our spending. They're going to be looking and making sure that we're not going to be one of those people that when we get millions and millions of dollars, and I mean hundreds of millions and maybe billions of dollars, some people will be getting, we're not going to be the type of people that 5 years later will be broke. So they're going to be watching us. So I've heard that, especially if you have Zim, you'll get enough money for 90 days. And they'll tell you, I mean, you might want to say, well, I want to give my kids some, I want to give my brothers some, I want to give a few other people some. I want to buy a new house. I want to get a nice car. You're going to want to do some things. Maybe for that 3 months, you need $10 million. You may not spend it all, but you may. Now, you can't double dip. If someone like me was to go to the Redemption Center and I trade in all my currency and I get all this money, say I come back with $10 million. I can't take $1 million and buy currency and go back in. You wouldn't want to. But what you can do, and this is what I'm going to do, when I get my Doge money or I get my money there, I'm going to where I have my XRP. And I know XRP is down, guys. It's down. But I'm telling you, for every one person that says XRP isn't going to make it, I talk to 50 people and I watch videos of 50 people saying it's going to be huge. And I've heard the President of the United States himself say, invest in that. It's going to be huge. So that being said, if I get that, I might go out and buy, me and Ron together, $100,000, maybe $200,000 worth of. I mean, if we can get it down where it's at now, I don't know what it is now. Earlier this morning, it was down 220 something. But man, if you can get 50,000 of them, and it goes to 100,000 a piece, wow. Let's see, that's not double dipping. That's a totally different thing. And I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm not telling you what to do with your money. Hey, You spend your money. You deserve it. You've waited a long, long time to get what we're about to get. You do what you want to do. But if you need a new car, I know people who are homeless. You think the first thing they're going to see, they're not going to want to get a home? That's why I want to rebuild Buckingham. I want to put homes in here and bring people out here to live and say, hey, look, I'm going to help you out. By then, they're not going to need help, but, people working together. There's going to be a lot of people that's going to say, oh, I'm 32 years old. I got millions of dollars. I ain't working. Well, guess what? You're going to get your millions of dollars taken away. But work is not going to be like it was. Guys, I'm coming from a guy that used to work the weekends. And I worked 12 hours a day, 3 days one week and 4 the next. So I worked 7 every 14 days. And I loved the shift. I loved being off all that time. But I would work overtime the days that I worked. My 12-hour days would turn into 16 hours because we got paid double time for the last 4 hours. So I never worked a day off. I enjoyed. I was like getting a vacation, 7 days off every 14 days. And I loved it. But I had to reteach myself how to spend. Because no matter how much I was making, when you're off more, you can spend more. But get what you need. You're going to have time to spoil yourself. You're going to have time to spoil your kids, your grandkids. You have time to get on them beds and live many, many, many more years. We'll never, ever, I don't believe, will we ever see the world the way it's got. The world as it is now is crap in a handbasket. I mean, it's shit on a shingle. But someone said today, they posted about the hat. And they said, this is the dumbest, most ignorant, man that's ever been in charge of anything. And my response, and about 500 people responding after me or before me, says, are you an idiot? My response was, this is a man that was sent from God to save his world. And I truthfully believe that. Now, I know I've heard rumors that he doesn't even exist. I've heard rumors of other things. Rumors are rumors. All I know is we're about ready to live in a world that we can enjoy ourselves and be there for one another. So let's be there for each other. Let's go. Let's keep our vibrations up. Do not spend money for things that you're going to get for free. People are coming on the scene now that they're just popping up. I mean, they're just everywhere. They're like my peach trees this year. My peach trees were so plentiful that I had to build boards up under branches to hold them up because I was afraid my peach trees were all going to bust the branches. We need to build each other up and just be ready because our day is coming. Remember, our day will come and we'll have everything. We'll share the love and the joy that God's going to bring us. Good night, everyone. God bless you. We love you all, and we'll see you Friday night. Maybe before. I always say that because there's always that chance. Have a great night.